All right, sweet. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Jeremy, oh so simple. I am a diamond with Purium, and I'm so honored to be able to put together this Zoom, this gathering, this mastermind, this training, this drop in with my own team, the Hueman Optimizers. That's HUE, Human Optimizers, and as well as some other lovely folks here in our community. And we have such a great guest on tonight that has been willing to help out for a while, and I finally took her up on it, and I'm so excited that she's here. So tonight we're going to be diving into the importance of story medicine and the power of that and the healing and all the benefits that come from really embodying our story. But before we go into that, I just want to do a little bit of some housekeeping. This is actually our first Zoom for the Hueman Optimizers team. And so thank you everybody for supporting. Yana, welcome. Kirsten, what's up? Cool. Let's see who else came on here. All right, I think I got everybody. And yeah, if you could be on camera, great. If not, then it's all good. And of course, this is being recorded. So Purium to me is just such an amazing blessing on so many levels. But really, the biggest blessing that I continue to witness over and over again are the stories, are the transformation journeys, the deep, profound healing and renewing and, unfolding and all kinds of things that happen on many levels, not just the physiological level, a biological, physical level with the body. There's just so much that happens. And so Purium really has embodied that mission of transformation. And as you all know, we are all here because we believe in the power of change. We believe in the beauty of transformation, and we have all taken upon our own journeys of transformation. We've been on the journey since we've been alive. We've been constantly transforming ourselves. And so personally, I wanted to just preface this with my own personal struggle. Actually, my struggle is storytelling. That is my biggest Achilles heel. And it may not seem like it, but at least in my mind, it feels like it is one of my definitely my weaknesses, in the sense, my weak points. I'm a very objective being, and so I'm a knowledge-based guy. I love to research. I love to investigate. I love to master systems, and I love to just teach and guide and spew the facts. And the story that I have for myself is basically just in my own direct experience. And sometimes I don't have words to use, or I don't think about even talking about myself, and I'm not sure why. I guess it's just my own sense of my humility, I guess you could call it, where I don't feel comfortable talking about myself too much, and that's something that I've been learning a lot to change, to shift, because we matter. Our own story matters so much. And so me as a Purium brand partner since the beginning, I came on board 100% for the health, for the products, for the transformation, and for the level of quality that these superfoods provide. And so today we're not going to talk about the superfoods and the products and the knowledge and all that stuff, but that's the reason why I'm here. I came here for the health, for the mission, without even knowing what network marketing was, without even knowing what MLM is, or being an entrepreneur even. I actually used to be in the corporate world. And in the corporate world, I was weaning off of that world by moving into distributing happiness through substances. And so that was my former life. And now I distribute happiness through superfoods, through the plant allies. And it's just been such a great journey. So for me, I really enjoy the aspect of listening to people's stories and witnessing people's stories, and really just pretty much witnessing, because I'm just an observer at heart. And so I just love to see all the transformation that happens here in our community, in my relationships, in our sidelines, and everybody that's involved in this. But it's time for me to actually step into more storytelling myself, and also learning the art and skill of highlighting other people's stories, because it's not just your own personal story. It's a story of the people around you. It's a story of the company that you're partnered with. It's a story of the mission that we're on. It's a story of the business that we have. There's many stories that we could really tap into, and that's a huge skill that's going to take us way beyond what we've ever imagined in our business. Because why? Facts tell, stories sell, obviously. So the more stories that we can tell, the more successful we will be. And that has been just a big struggle for me. Like, it really has been. I feel like I'm just talking at people and I'm shouting from the rooftops, and I'm sharing my truth and sharing knowledge about health and nutrition and spiritual practices and self-love and all the things that I've been doing on social media for so long. And yeah, I resonate with a lot of people, but I don't create that emotionality, that connection where people want to like reach out and people want to just like, see what's up in my life and see how they can relate to me and things like that. I feel like I've just been talking, like just shouting from the rooftops, for a very long time. And so that's been a big realization for me, and I still struggle to this day. I mean, I'm lucky enough to have a diamond business, a stabilized diamond business in this company. But I know that to expand that, I really have to harness the medicine of story. And so that's why it's an honor to be able to host this and facilitate this first call, which is actually our pre-call, our official team call. By the way, guys, Hueman Optimizers is our Mondays at 6 p.m. Pacific time. That's going to be our weekly official call. But because our team, we are on a mission of getting this group cleanse going, this group ULT on August 2nd, which is our start date. I wanted to get a call in as soon as possible with some valuable training that we could apply immediately tonight, tomorrow, this weekend, and get as much exposure to our stories and get more people into our group cleanse as well. So it's going to be such a great value to receive what Rachel Balanza, and I'll introduce her in a second, what she has to share. But like I said, we have the first story, which is just ourselves. We have the potential of the business story, how the Purian business, will or is making a difference in your life. There's so many stories that we could tap into. The core values that you have, community, health, financial security, service to others, empowerment, personal development, the love that you have for whatever it is that you do in your life and whatever it is that you stand for. There's so many core values that you could talk about. Of course, there's the company story. I mean, come on, like Dave and Amy and the foundation that they've created, the history that they have with this company, with the natural health movement, with everything that they've done, the systems that they've created, the farm to family manufacturer, the environmental mission, plastic free, the low carbon food print with the distribution system that we have, and the regenerative farming, and just all the stories that we can tell about the company itself. That enough is just something to really captivate people and wow people and have a one up on all the other companies out there that really just blend in with the rest. We are a whole in a whole nother realm of story because of the foundation that Dave and Amy have created over the last 28 years, and Dave for over 3 decades, of the beautiful human that he is. So these stories are so valuable as well, the company, the business, your core values. And so when we are able to tap into this, it's just going to be more fuel to our fire. We have vision, we have transparency, we have vulnerability, we have relatability, and we have the personal connection to these products, to this business. It's not just fact telling. It's not just, hey, this is an amazing product, you need it, this is what it's going to do, and this is why it's going to help you. But no, you want to make people or help people connect that emotionally and what's in it for them. So another thing that I wanted to point out is that I've always strived all my life to be an interesting person, and that, thank you, Mom, for helping me experience the program of perfectionism. And drop a 1 in the comments in the chat if you have experienced the program of perfectionism and the trauma around perfectionism. So I've learned that, through my journey, is that, always trying to please others, always trying to look a certain way, say certain things, and just always trying to be interesting. you know, instead of just being myself and being authentic and being as I am, raw and open and vulnerable. So learning how to shift that to being interested in other people, you know, that's a huge one. You know, stop being so interesting, stop trying to be so interesting, and just be interested in other people. And that in itself will make you so interesting enough, because people will feel you, people will value the time and the intention and the care that you're providing, and the authenticity that you're exuding, and the light that you're shining upon, you know, the space that you have with another person. So these are amazing things that I've realized, and you know, and I also am still learning and still applying all of it, and really just wanting to fine tune my embodiment of what it means to not just be a Purium brand partner, but to be, you know, an authentic human being, and someone that could hold space and could listen to others and can share from the heart, and not shy away from, you know, being vulnerable, and from really embracing the story around everything. So with that being said, you know, we're all here for a reason, and we're all here to learn. We're all here to grow. We're all here to expand our business, our health, our relationships, you know, our communities. And with that, we really need to support each other and see each other and honor each other and acknowledge each other. Because with that validation, that social validation, that reflection that we receive from each other, you know, it's only gonna fortify the mission that we're on, and fortify our personal stories and our confidence. And that's also something that I've been working on myself. You know, I'm pretty self-reliant and self-empowered, and I've been an only child. I mean, I am an only child, and I've spent a lot of time with myself all my life. So I've just looked to myself. You know, I talk to myself, and I always joke like, yeah, I talk to myself all the time. Like, how else am I going to get expert advice? But no, it's important to receive validation from others, or like be seen by others, and be vulnerable, and share yourself with others, so that we could reflect back to each other the beauty that we all are. And then with that validation and community and empowerment, you know, the accountability and the repetition of continuously sharing our story and empowering our stories and reminding each other of our stories, we could really have a strong, rooted, grounded foundation in what we're doing here. Because a lot of people that join our business are looking for something, looking for change, looking for transformation. And this is personal experience, there's a lot of drop off, and there's a lack of retention, and there's a lack of commitment, and there's a lack of clarity and action and embodiment, and all the things that it takes to get someone into the flow of being you know, self-employed and being a network marketer and being a brand partner. Is that, you know, they're not connected with their story. And I have failed in the past, and all the brand partners that I've brought on that have come and gone, I have failed to connect them with their own story. And I've failed to connect them with their vision, with their dreams, and with their why. You know, I got too much into, you know, the facts, and then this is how you do the business, or this is what you can do, this is what, you know, you should do, or whatever, just directing energy, rather than just first like, yeah, let's tap into your story. Let's tap into your why. Let's really get clear on what it is that you're looking for, and why you're here. And that's the fertile soil for everything that happens in this business. You know, without the why, without the vision, then we're really gonna run around with no direction, and we're gonna take action with no direction. And that's something that, you know, could really be a repeated cycle, and it could really get you nowhere in the end. And I have done that a lot in my business. I've started and crumbled, and started and crumbled apart many times over the last 5 years, 4.5 years of taking this business seriously. So making your business, your self-development, your life, your journey with Purium as a priority, your story as the priority, that's the shift that I want to make in myself. And that's the reason why we started this first Hueman Optimizer Zoom call with Story Medicine. Because I truly believe that it's the training and the value that we need today to take more effective action, you know, right after we get off this call. So with that being said, I would love to bring upon this beautiful Zoom stage a lovely human being that I've had the chance to connect with, and learn from, and witness in the community in Purium, witness her rise to the crown ranks. Her name is Rachel Balansat, and she has such an amazing story. I actually had something written here, but I can't even find it about her. But she basically was she used to have a completely different career, I believe, full-time like professional photographer or wedding photography, I think it was. And she just has an amazing story, and her journey is just so inspiring, not just in business, but in health and all the health obstacles that she has overcome, and the lives that I see impacted, every day and over the years that I've witnessed, thousands and thousands of people in the space that she holds, and really the embodiment that she has, which I believe it's really coming down to what she's going to teach about is the story medicine. So without further ado, I want to introduce Rachel Balansat to our Zoom call. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much. Oh, my heart is so full to be here. Really, I just feel so honored. I really just adore you. You've been just a wonderful, just a human being that has really advocated for this company over the years that I've known you. I first met you at Dave Sandoval's land. I think that was the first time I met you. I'm actually not sure where I first met you, but we've had some adventures, and we've danced together and had some fun at the Purium event, and I miss that. And it's so great to see your shining team. I see a lot of smiling, energetic faces. It's really wonderful to see you all. And story medicine is something I've been crafting over the last 6 years since I joined the company. And this is a term that I borrowed from a friend of mine who actually really coined the term story medicine. And I'm spacing on her name right now. I want to give her credit at the end, and hopefully her name will come to me. But her Meta Commerce, META Commerce. Look her up. She's African American, and she has this incredible body of work that she teaches around story medicine. And so this is, something that she embodies. And so, this is great. I really love, Jeremy, that you started with talking about how your business has crumbled, and you built it and it's crumbled. It's built and it's crumbled. That's been my whole life. I've built, I've crumbled. I've built, I've crumbled. But I always stuck with it, and I always get back up on my feet, and I always take that and make it part of my story. Every time I've had a disaster in my life, there have been many, I've always taken that and been like, now that's just part of my story. This is part of who I am. This is part of what's going to help others. That thing that was so hard, or that is so hard, is, and if I'm in the middle of a challenge, I just always tell myself, this is part of my next story. This is what is going to propel others. As I learn through this obstacle, this is how I'm going to help others, is helping them move through this obstacle that I'm in right now. So embrace whatever challenges you're having. Know that this is actually the medicine for your community. Is every challenge you go through is your medicine for the community. And that topic of vulnerability is the perfect example. I mean, Brene Brown and her talks about, on her TED Talks on vulnerability, are perfect for doing this business well. It teaches us authenticity, how to be real in our stories, how to share our authentic experience, how to share our challenges, and how we're rising above them, and our intention to rise above them. This is what's going to motivate every person in your community to want to partner with you and be part of your life and want to be next to you, because really this attraction is all about being authentic. And that's what story medicine is. It's learning how to be authentic. And I started off in a group home, not working at a group home, where we were instructed to share stories. Like, they're like, really, it's important that you tell the people, the boys in this group home, the girls in this group home, stories, because this is how they're going to attain wisdom. These stories are crucial for the development of their lives. If you can gather them and tell stories regularly, they will learn from the story. Why? Because they take themselves out of the picture and they put them in your picture. They actually, when we tell stories, it enables another person to take themselves out of the equation, or ego, whatnot, and they can actually put themselves in your shoes, and then they get to experience your life and be moved with the emotion of your life. And then they gain the wisdom of your story because they're experiencing it happening to them. So I'm going to go ahead and share my story. I'm going to go ahead and share my story with you right now. And I'm sure, a lot of you are new, so I haven't probably told you all this story yet. So I'm going to go back to right before I started Purium. Thank you. I'm going to go back to 6 years ago. And 6 years ago, I was in a really challenging place in my life. I was struggling. I was sick with Hashimoto's autoimmune disorder of the thyroid, which means I was completely fatigued. So I was struggling. I was fatigued. I had brain fog. I had all these different health issues. I was barely able to work. I was really, really struggling and barely able to make ends meet. I'd been a successful wedding photographer, and that business was crumbling because I had no more energy for it. And I was burnt out and I was tired. I was tired of traveling. Everything was really exhausting for me. And I was praying to God for like a 9 to 5, some kind of job, any kind of job that was not photography, just to like take me out of it. The other thing that happened that time is my mom died in an accident. She drowned, and it was completely shocking. She was missing, and then we found her. She was found. I actually have a book called Fitness to Freedom, where I write about that. I have a chapter in that book. It's an anthology, and I share my full story about my mother's death. That happened right before I found Purium. And then 3 months after my mother's death, my partner, who I was crazy about, ended the relationship. And so I was going through the biggest traumas I've ever experienced in my life. I'd never known pain like this ever before in the history of my being. I call it a rite of passage. It was an initiation into adulthood, into a spiritual awakening. It was an incredible initiation into a spiritual awakening to lose everything that meant the most to me. And then within that year, my roommate took his life. And then at the end of that year, my father died. And I was thinking my father was gonna die. That was why I came back from Hawaii to California, was to help my father die. And then instead, all these other things happened first. So this was my first year in Purium. Purium was the first thing in my life at the hardest time in my life that gave my life meaning, and it kept me alive. It literally is what kept me sane and kept me feeling like I had a purpose. Thank you, Jason. It really gave me so much fuel. Thank you. It gave me so much fuel to live, because I was, for the first time, finally helping other people. Not to say that weddings weren't helping other people, but I had something that I felt passionate about, because the first thing it did is it helped me. It completely transformed my health. I literally went in 7 days into that acceleration. All of my brain fog was gone. All of my energy was back. I had an incredible amount of energy. I lost all this weight, and I was like, wow, I'm like ready to take on the planet. I literally felt like Wonder Woman. I just watched that movie last night for the first time. I literally felt like Wonder Woman. I'm like, I'm gonna like lift this truck up and throw it over there. And like, all the anger was coming out, the fuel, the meat, everything. I was like, yes, okay, it's all here. So I took that energy and I started going to the gym. Instantly, I was waking up at 6 a.m. going, I have to go to the gym. Like I was up, and I'd wake up and my mind would be going monkey mind and pain and tragedy and all this stuff. And I was like, had all this energy. I was like, oh, go to the gym. So I started going to the gym all the time. Well, I ended up, my body changed so much, my mind changed so much. Somebody said to me, why don't you compete? And I thought, wow, like, you mean like look all muscly and like get on stage in a bikini, like that kind of thing? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, that's crazy. Like, okay, I'll do it. Like, that's nuts. I'm down. I'll try it. So here I was. I ended up doing that. And before I actually went on stage, oh, I forgot. Okay, so I'll just say, I just already gave it out. I won first place. I kind of thought it'd be cool if I won like 3rd place or 8th place, but I won first place. And I was like, oh my God, my first trophy. I was like, wow, for real? Like, I didn't even believe them when they were calling 5th place, 4th place, 3rd place. I was like, oh, that's it, I'm out of the game. And then they were like 2nd place, and then like 1st place, Rachel Dawes. I'm like, and I was like frozen, like, what? And then I won. So that was first, I was 40 and over. So I won 1st place in that division. And then I won 1st place in the next division, which was 20 and over. So here I was, 44 years old, winning a 20 and over division. I'm like, what the heck? And I remember I had these two trophies in my hand, and I was looking at these, and I looked to my left, and I saw my coach, and she's crying. She's like bawling. She's like on the side of the stage. And I was like, this one's for my mom, and this one's for my dad. And I was like, that's what this is for. I did it. I did something in the name of my parents. And then I ended up being interviewed. I ended up getting the cover of the magazine, and that magazine had a full-on like 5-page feature of me where I shared all about my health and nutrition and superfoods, and all about like being healthy in this industry and feeling alive in this industry and not taxing yourself with like nasty, all the other stuff, all the other stuff that people like do for bodybuilding that's really toxic. It's like, this is, we got to be organic, we got to eat healthy. And I was like, this became my platform for launching knowledge, for being able to educate the world. And what I love about Purium is it has enabled me to be a person who can educate the world and keep people sane and healthy and give people purpose and help people and being able to coach people, because whatever you've been through, you can help coach other people through, right? So this is like, okay, now I get to be a coach. So it's just enabled me to just embody all the things that matter to me. And the other thing that I didn't mention that I was going to go back to is that I was so terrified before I got well that I was going to end up homeless on the streets. Okay. So I was like, I am so sick. I can barely work. I'm running out of money. I'm going to end up not being able to live, and I'm going to be homeless on the street. And guess what? I did move into my car. I lived in my car for 4 months. And I remember feeling completely humiliated. Like, oh God, I really wanted to share the story on Facebook. Like, I like to blog. I like to journal. I like to kind of just say stuff on social media. But I was like, oh my God, like, who's going to really want to share this? I feel like this is part of my story, but I'm terrified to share that I'm living in my car. And I remember it took me like weeks of talking in my brain to myself of like, I'm going to share this story. I'm going to share this story. And then finally at midnight, I broke through. I realized who I was afraid that would judge me. And I just decided it doesn't matter. This is not her journey. This is my journey. Like, this is not her journey. This is my journey. Like, there's nothing to be ashamed of. This is my journey. This is my life. I'm learning from it. This is my spiritual growth. This is my karmic lesson. I'm here to share this. This is my purpose, is to share. And so I remember at midnight, I wrote, I'm living in my car. I'm in the back seat. I'm ashamed to post this. I can't believe this is my life. Like all my ego, all my identities like wrapped up in all this, and God, it sucks. And I remember that next day, I must have had 150 comments, and like half of them were people who were like, I used to live in my car. I lived in my car. Same thing. Totally get it. Love you. You're awesome. Don't worry. We got you. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh my God, my page was full of love. And it totally transformed how I did business from then on. So I was like, I can just share anything. This is who I am. And this is just my story. And this is going to help other people. And as I transform, they're going to transform. As I figure this out, they're going to figure this out. So long story short, fast forward. By the way, I became a crown before I actually ended up bodybuilding, to be honest. Wait, before I ended up winning that competition. No, I didn't end up a crown. No, it was before that. Sorry. But I did rank up before that actually happened. I don't know why the sequence matters, but I just want to have integrity with the timeline so that you guys get it. So long story short is, within a year of starting the business, when my father died, I took on his legacy, which was that he was taking care of his kids in the Philippines. And I didn't know these people. I had never met my brother, my sister, their kids, or my other brother. I didn't even know I had another brother. I had a third brother. I met him when I went to the Philippines. So I was like, I'm going to go and I'm going to travel and I'm going to work my business from abroad because I can, because I have a phone, because I have a computer. And so I went to Bali for a month, and I went to and the Philippines, and I literally, my phone was broken. I mean, it was stolen. My phone was stolen while I was skinny dipping at a waterfall. Shame on me. Anyway, all my clothes were stolen too. It was really fun. And then my computer broke. I was like, I guess I'm not supposed to work. I don't have a phone. I don't have a computer. I guess I'm not supposed to work. And I just said, you know what? This is God's message to me. I am supposed to take a break. I'm going to grieve. I'm going to sit here and stop trying to work. I'm going to grieve. Well, I think at that point I was like maybe green or blue. I think it was Blue Diamond. And I had the same income coming in for those 2 months as I had when I was working. And I was like, wow, I got a full on Blue Diamond income for 2 months while I was not working. I was able to grieve. And I was like, this is why residual income. Like, I really started understanding, like, this is why residual income is so important, because we never know when we're going to need to take a break to grieve, to be injured. One of the women on my team had cancer, and breast cancer, and she was out for like a year, and I just held her team, and she was making money, and she was living off her, I think, Green Diamond income at the time, until she came back and was ready to work again. This is the miracle of this business. And it really can't fail if you stick to it. And I really love, Jeremy, that all these years that you are just like, let me relaunch my business, because you really believe in the company. You really understand the potential. You're willing to grow. You're willing to say, what am I not doing? What have I not been doing that I can do, that I can add in now? What are the steps that I can do? And you reached out to me. You're like, what do you do, Rachel? What can we do? What's the next step? Let's do story medicine. Okay. So we're going to talk about stories and how to share your story. And you don't have to have this big old tragic, crazy story like I did. I mean, that was literally like, that story is just like, I know it's like, but you know, it's a little bit of crazy. But I was successful before that story was even like, before I'd ever competed or anything like that, right? Successful in my own heart, because I knew that I was doing something that I loved, and that I was committed to it, and that I was working in every day, and that it was, you know, I was like getting something. So when you share your story, what's really important is to actually tell it to somebody who is on your team, right? And practice and just share your story and figure out what it is. But these are the questions you want to answer. And there's 4 questions. You can write this down or put it in your notes somewhere. What was I doing? What did I love about what I was doing? Sorry, the first question is what did I love? What was I doing and what did I love about it? The second question is what wasn't working? Or what isn't working? Because your story could be now you're still in that thing that's not working, and you're using, and Purium is your Purium is your vessel right now for the future. Okay, so what wasn't working or isn't working? And step 3 is I found the solution. Okay, I found this model of company, I found this community, I found this mission, I found, what have I found that's the solution to whatever the issue was? And number 4 is, how do I feel about the future? Those are the questions you want to answer in your story. Okay. Sorry.
Can you just run through all 4 real quick one more time?
Absolutely. And if somebody wants to write them in the chat too, that'd be great. Step 1, what was I doing and what I love about it? Maybe you don't love anything, that's okay. Number 2 is what isn't or wasn't working. Step 3 is I found a solution. What's the solution I found? What is it solving? And step 4 is how do I feel about the future? So I'm going to kind of break it down for you what those were for me, so you can kind of see yourself and how to tell the story. So what I was doing before was wedding photography. I was incredibly sick and did not work to be able to have a job and be sick. I couldn't do it. It was just impossible. Not only that, but I was lonely. I was an entrepreneur. I was working super hard. I was literally, there was no more, I couldn't really figure out how to make more money. I was like stuck in this, like, this is how many hours, and if I'm not working, I don't get paid. And so I was really like trying to invent my own wheel. I had to come up with a website. I had to come up with all these different things. I had to spend all this money. It was all this big investment. And then when I got sick, I had to live in my car. So that didn't really work for me. It was like a great idea to have a business, but it's a lot of work to keep it going. I didn't have residual income. It also wasn't working for me that I was lonely, right? So then I found a solution. I found Purium. Purium, the most important thing that Purium offered me was a community of support. The most important thing was a community of support. That I could have my own business and work my own hours, yet I still had other people that I could turn to who could tell me, this is the system, this is how you do it. Add more friends on social media, follow more people on social media, share your story on social media, reach out to your family, reach out to your friends, do the thing, share your story, share your story, share your story. So for some of you, the story right now might be I'm in it, and this is my vision of the future. This is why I'm doing this. This is where I'm going. So the solution I found, and the other thing too, that for me was a solution, was that I was literally, well, before, years ago, I was an activist, still am, but I was an activist, like really actively, I got a permaculture design certificate, 2 permaculture design certificates. I was living on farms. I was learning farming. I was like I was volunteering nonstop for organic consumers, what is it called? Association. And I was like going all over San Francisco into hip hop symposiums and everything, just gathering signatures in bars and restaurants and just trying to educate people about GMOs. And this was in the 90s. I was just trying to get hip hop artists to start rapping about it. I'm like, you guys need to be talking about this in your music. The audience needs to be educated. And I was like educating everyone I could. So this was my mission. And so then when I found Purium, I'm like, what? I can get paid to do the same thing. Educate people about GMOs and get people inspired about changing their lives and sharing stories to inspire them, right? And how do I feel about the future? Well, now I can finally actually see myself retiring for the first time in my life. I never imagined I'd be able to retire. I actually just thought I'll just work forever, like until I drop, and I don't even know what I'll be doing, but maybe I'll be an old lady, you know, painting paintings on the sidewalk at some point, but like I'm going to be working till I drop. And now I can actually visualize retiring is actually seeming possible to me. So I feel very safe, whereas before I didn't. And I'm feeling very enthusiastic about my family, that my family supported, and I've helped them start businesses in the Philippines. I've helped buy them all teeth, helped them. They were living really shanty, and now they're living better. I'm not saying they're out of poverty, but they're living better, and I'm doing my best to support them. And that's my vision for my future. So that said, I'd love to hear kind of, you know, what's coming up for you guys around your stories, and like what, you know, kind of how this is landing. Like maybe share your 4 things. If I could get somebody to share their 4 things, even if you're in the story, like, and also if you don't have a story yet, you can always share someone else's story. That's the other thing, right? So there's our health story, and then there's a business story, right? So my health story, probably everybody here has some kind of health story. And then maybe you also have the beginning of a business story, but your business story can also be your inspiration, because when I started, my business story was like, I just don't want to live in poverty for the rest of my life. That was my story. It was like, I need to figure out, I'm stoked on the idea of residual income. I see the mission and the vision of this company. I want to get paid for doing stuff that I believe in. That was my story when I first began. Okay, so who feels like sharing? We're just learning, and we're gonna talk. And, you know, I can like do some coaching here too, and we'll help you extract your story. We're gonna like extract your story together.
Not everybody at once.
I guess I'll go.
Hey, Rachel, it's Rachel.
Oh, okay. So Jason and then.
Yeah, Jason, okay. and then Rachel. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So my name is Jason. First off, thanks so much for sharing your story and your testimony. That is so. God, it's just so powerful hearing.
Turn on your camera. Turn on your camera. There you go. There you go.
There we go. Sorry about that. It's just so powerful hearing what you had to say. And I'm going to be turning my camera off to go to my notes, because I was keeping notes on those 4 questions. Okay. Unless I can remember the order. I'll try to remember the order so I don't have to shut off my camera. But yeah, just super awesome story. And I really felt connected. There's a lot of similarities actually that I've shared. So the first one was, what was I doing and what did I love about it? So I kind of had a really roller coaster ride like you. I had been in the healing arts for several years and felt like I was just totally on track with life. I was doing massage therapy and like energy work and stuff like that. And I ended up getting into 2 car accidents that just totally shut me down. I mean, I went from being, you know, essentially at one point I was going to join the military in high school and was just very athletic, and then got into the healing arts, into car accidents. And then I was just like, I mean, I was almost paralyzed at one point. So my whole journey after that has been building myself back up. But essentially I was really in love with that. And I felt really connected to helping people, and was just felt like I had found my purpose in life, you know. And then I had those 2 cataclysms hit and just totally changed my life 180 degrees. So it was a huge health crisis. And I guess that kind of was the wasn't working part. Was once I hit rock bottom, I went through 5 years of struggling with, similarly to what you were going through, was kind of like autoimmune type symptoms. Mine were really complex. I went doctor to doctor for 5 years, went to the hospitals, and eventually just realized, my body's healing, but it's taking its time. And I was like, healing is an organic process it's part of nature, and it's just going to do it on its own time. And so I had to get comfortable being in my own body, and it felt like it wasn't working. I remember just like crying and like being so pissed off about feeling like life was leaving me behind, because I saw all my friends going off and getting married, and I saw my friends joining the military, moving away, going on vacations, while I was bedridden. Essentially, I was bedridden for like 6 to 12 months, unable to work. At one point, we thought I was going to have a spinal cord surgery. So it's been a very transitioning period. And that second question that you talked about of not working, that was it. I was like, okay, life isn't working for me. Third one, I think that the solution that I've found has just been, first off, it's spirituality is the number one thing, but and just connecting with yourself. This has taught me self-love, that in the end, it's like, I need to honor my body no matter how long it takes. And it sounds way easier than it's come out to be. I've made many mistakes. I've acted like a fool. I've done really dumb things along the way. And, it's just like, having the patience with yourself, I think, is the biggest one for me. So it's been so much more difficult than it sounds. It's really a trying journey when you have to actually learn self-love. So I believe that's the solution. But number two, to follow up with that, is health. And that's where health and spirituality tie together, and they go hand in hand. Is that I feel like when you do reach a certain level of spiritual maturity, that you realize your body is sacred, your body is it's something to be treasured. And when we're being poisoned and polluted by all these corporations and food companies that are just trying to keep us disempowered, then it's a matter of making a decision to take your health into your own hands. And that's a scary choice. I'm still terrified. To be honest, I'm terrified right now still, that like, wow, I'm a 30-year-old dude who's having to face the world in a way, like, there's all these things against us, right? There's all these things that are basically trying to pollute us and poison us. But when you're aware of it, that's the golden opportunity to make the decision. So that was huge for me, was realizing, yeah, I have the power to choose, but it's a very big decision. It's huge. It's like the biggest life decision you can make is when you take responsibility for your own health, in my opinion. And that was it was beautiful, it was big, and it was amazing, but it was also terrifying, because with that huge decision comes a great responsibility. It's kind of like Spider-Man: with great power comes great responsibility. So the number 4, so that was the solution. The fourth one, how do I feel about the future right now? I just actually had a corporate job. I was working for Intel, and I've worked for UPS. I've worked for some big name companies doing manufacturing, and I don't have anything against it. It's just I'm starting to think that, and I've never really been like huge into MLMs. I've dipped my toe into the water, so to speak, but I'm starting to see the value of having to your own business. And I don't know if that necessarily means MLM or just whatever it is, but at this point, I'm just starting to realize that I have something more to offer the world than just being a corporate slave. And I don't mean to sound derogatory if there's anyone else who's in a corporate position, but that's just how I feel about it. And, going from the healing arts into a huge health crisis into where I'm at now, it's kind of like, I think self-love, I'm just on the beginning right now. I'm not very far. It sounds like I'm 6 years into this journey, but really I've just it's been so slow that I'm just now breaking through the cusp of realizing, okay, wow, somehow, and I'm terrified right now to even say this, but it's like somehow I've got to find a way to be my own authentic self while making an income and doing my heart's desire, what I was sent here to do. And it can be a scary thing, because it's like, to go get a 9-to-5 job can be easy, but to step out of that world and then just, follow your own heart's desire can be a scary process. So right now, that's, to answer that fourth question, that's kind of how I feel about the future. Is I'm still very uncertain. I'm trying to be brave, but at the same time, I am gaining more and more clarity as I go. So.
Wow. That is so powerful. It's incredible that you've been through so much, and I really, really feel your journey. And it's actually neat for me to see where you are now, knowing where you're headed, no matter whether it's, with Purium or elsewhere, because I can see that you have made a decision and that you're right now in the process of aligning with it. You're aligning your life to meet what you already know in your mind. So now you're like putting the pieces together in your life to match and meet what you know in your soul is most highest purpose and most important thing for you to do. And so I'm already rejoicing, because I'm like, this guy is going to do great. Like, whatever you put your mind to, whatever it is, like, you are there. You are already there. You have already had the awakening and the realization. And so your future is bright. Like, it is there. And you found the most amazing health products to like support your healing, literally. And I want to say, have you seen the movie Game Changers?
Yeah, I watched that when it first came out. Yeah.
I mean, that is just so epic. That movie is like, literally, this guy is basically doing the Purium journey, like destroyed his body. And now he's like in a wheelchair and like, I got to figure it out. And then he figures out, all the health stuff. So right now it's just you aligning, you're figuring out the health. I'm guessing, I'm imagining you listening to Joe Dispenza and like healing your body with your mind, doing all the spirit. That's so great. You're doing work.
You're reading me like a book, and I don't mean to take up any more of anyone else's time, but I just wanted to mention too, what I really connected with on your story was how you've lost so much. I moved from Boise, Idaho. I actually moved to Portland back during the pandemic, start of the pandemic, and right as I moved, I had a friend. Actually, a little bit around the time I moved. Also, just like your story, I had a friend commit suicide. And then I lost, I never met my real father. I never really had a biological father, but the man who had been that role for me my entire life, he changed my diapers, went to my graduation. He was there with me from day one. He ended up dying of cancer. So, I really connect with you on that level. And it's just, it's interesting and kind of scary at times to have a foundation in life. And it sounded like this was for you as well. You felt like you had some stability, and then to just have that get taken really quickly, or to have the foundation just completely wiped out from under your feet. And so that's where I say I feel you on that. I know what that's like.
So much love, deep breath, just prayers for you, and thank you so much for sharing that. It is really deep, incredible story. And it just makes me feel connected to you. When I'm hearing it on this end, I'm like, oh my God, I love this guy. Like, I just want to give you a hug. I'm just feeling growing with you. Like, I'm like, oh wow, like I need to be lifting, like it's resonating. Like anybody who's been through what you've been through is like, going to be like, oh, wow, I should be listening to Joe Dispenza or doing this spiritual work. What they're going to be reaching out to you, like, what are you doing? Like, if you share these parts of your story, people are going to be like, what are you doing? I still have people reach out to me today saying like, oh my God, someone died. What do I do? Like literally they just say, what do I do if someone died? Like they don't even know the first step. And I'm just like, are they there right now? Are you with them right in their body right now? Okay, here's what you're going to do. Make it beautiful, sit with them, put some flowers out, take a moment with that body and just be with that person who's just passed away. I mean, literally people are reaching out to me in lifetime with their death. Wow. This is how, so my sharing my stories along the way has built so much trust with my audience, and they have been able to reach out to me because of that. And so if we can share our stories and our life in this way on social media and with people that we meet, those people who are looking for the answers are looking for people who are sharing their story. And you're going to answer someone's prayer by sharing your story. Your story is the answer to someone's prayer. And they don't even know it. And they're going to find you through that alignment with yourself and through your alignment and acceptance of your place in your life. And they're going to fall in love with you and reach out to you, and they're going to want to follow your journey, and they're going to follow your whole Purium journey, and they're going to add you, and they're going to share your story with friends, and they're going to like tag their friends in your stories. I mean, this is, you know, personally for you, part of your development, but it's also what's going to be part of your world, everyone in your community's development. And so this level of sharing is really, really what this call is about. What the Zoom is about. It's about learning to share on this level with your community, knowing that your story is medicine for the people. Your story is medicine.
Wow. Thank you so much for saying that. I really appreciate you.
Yeah. There are people who are struggling. They're just behind you on your journey. They haven't found the spiritual thing yet, and their body's a wreck. They haven't found the answers yet. They don't even know where to start, and they're looking for you.
Wow. That's powerful. Just testimony alone can lead people, you know. That is powerful.
Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing that. I'm very moved, and I know that other people here are crying and moved, and we're all feeling moved by your story. And I encourage you to share that story. I encourage you to continue to share. You know, Joe Dispenza shares his story. That guy, you know, change. What is it called? The movie that I said that you know, he shares his story. And
Game Changers.
And what was that, Rachel?
Game Changers.
Yeah, Game Changers. Thank you. And so, the power of this story, it doesn't even have to be about Purium. If you just share anything in your life and you're sharing, that's something you're thinking about and you're processing, it's going to build trust with everyone around you. This is what's going to build trust. This is what's going to attract your following, attract your particular unique crowd. And we don't need to be like anyone else but ourselves. Like Jeremy was saying, it's like there's a period in our life sometimes where we go through like trying to be perfect. Okay, I'll be honest, I was like part of the whole fashionista thing. I'm like, you know, we used to call them like feather leather community or whatever. And it was like, it was all image, it was all ego. And I realized that I wanted to be around people. I didn't care what they looked like. I actually really wanted to be around people who were heart. I wanted to be around good people, around people who were full of love, and people who were wanting to help each other, and people who, like, it didn't matter, you know, this image thing that like I'd gotten from my sister or whatever, you know, the world around me, like depression. I mean, we're just all internalizing this oppression, right? And we have to learn how to be like what's real in ourselves and share that, and not what we think society wants us to look like, because that's not what anyone's looking for. No one's looking for perfection on social media. No one is looking for perfection. They're all striving for it and trying to like create it, but no one's looking for perfect people. We're looking for people who inspire us, because we're all here in the human condition to grow. We're all here trying to, or one reason we're on this planet is to learn. And so everything that we experience is a school. This Zoom, this business, it's all just an excuse to learn, you know? It's all an excuse to learn the human, how to with each other. Right?
That is so cool. That is so cool.
It's so
Well,
awesome.
that's
Thank
another,
you, bro. Dude, sorry to
yeah.
interrupt. Thank you for
No,
sharing,
no.
Jason. I didn't even know that about you, and you know, and we've hung out many times, and yeah, man, I'm so glad that I got to hear that.
Yeah, thank you so much.
So
yeah, so we're coming in on an hour, but I'm sure we could definitely go for one more of these. What just happened? So
let's do another story. Let's do another story.
Yeah, Rachel had volunteered earlier. Rachel, can you come on camera or?
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool.
Hey, can you see me, guys? Sorry, I just finished working like a 10-hour shift as usual. Thank you guys so much for sharing your stories. Like, I'm kind of in a place right now, as I've shared with Jeremy, like I'm kind of living the corporate lifestyle, like working for another company full time. And in the beginning, I started full-time work the same time I started full-time with Purium. So I had the momentum and I had the energy to do it. And I was super enthusiastic, not on top of doing a Purium cleanse, working full time. I also run my own company. I make organic juices and smoothies. I vend at festivals and events. This is my menu right here. As you guys see, I have my setup here. I've just been working from my laptop. I have all my juice stuff, my bottles. So multitasking as usual. The difference is Purium used to give me the fuel to do all this. And as Jeremy knows, and some of the Hueman Optimizers, like recently I fell off with Purium, and I'm telling you, like I burnt out like so much more easily without Purium than when I had it. Like I used to just have all this energy and momentum when I was like practicing this daily. And I miss that feeling, and I really want to get back into it. I have some other prospects that want to do this group cleanse as well. And like, I just know I need it, you guys. Like I've shared with Jeremy, like I've fallen into a depression. I feel like I'm not getting the proper nutrients I need. And that's really easy to happen when you're working full time and you're just on the go and going and going. Like I just vended at a festival over the weekend. I'm working full time during the week. Like I don't really get days off. And having Purium just makes my life so much easier. And I just noticed a night and day difference in my energy levels. And I don't know, I'm also kind of subtly like hoping I can use this as one of my main streams of income, because I feel like this current type of work like isn't working for me. Like it's really draining of my energy. I feel like I'm not getting to do work that's fulfilling. And I felt more fulfilled when I was doing more stuff with Purium and for my own business. So essentially that's where I'm at. I really miss it. And this is the first call I've been on in a long time, you guys. So just thank you for sharing your stories. Rachel, I've also experienced loss and tragedy in my life. And superfoods and eating plant-based and organic, that saved my life too. Like it was like life or death for me. Thank you so much, Jason. Yeah, I'm in the place where I'm over the corporate. It's supposed to be 9 to 5, but I'm working 9 to 6 every day, and I'm just like, I'm over it. I'd rather be, living my dream. I miss the sunlight and daylight. Like I don't have a lot of time to do stuff for myself throughout the day. And I'm getting to a point, you guys, where I'm kind of just openly sharing this and being vulnerable. Like that's where I'm at. I'm meeting myself where I'm at, I was doing so good. Like I fell off like majorly, and that's okay. Like with Jeremy, like he's fallen off with his business at times, and you could just get back up and get back into it. Like, so I'm going to try. And that's where I'm at.
Thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to wrap it up quickly here in 2 minutes.
I gotta get off too, you guys. Sorry.
Story is an example, something we're going to do next really quickly here, which is that I want to say that I draw out impact statements from what people are saying. So I heard you and Jason both say I was struggling. I'm struggling. There's a word of struggle. Yeah. This is how you can start your post. If you do a post, you can say like, or you said, I'm over it. You're like, I'm over it. Like that's an impact statement. An impact statement is something that really just kind of it's like the title, the cover of the newspaper. It's the title that gets people like hooked. And they're like, what is she over? What is she struggling with? What is he struggling with? And it's like, oh, I struggled for, I was struggling, or I was struggling, or whatever it is. Or like for me, it was like I was in the twilight zone, or, I was living in my car, whatever your impact statement is, you're going to write that. And that way people will click see more. And if you're doing a live, then you want to say something impactful in the first 10 seconds so that they'll click keep watching. So we don't have time to go into it, but I really do want you guys to explore impact statements and think about every post you open with some kind of impact. Okay. And then share your beautiful story and tag me in it. I'd like to see what you guys are doing. Feel free to reach out, say hello, on Facebook, or DM me or whatever on Instagram. Unfortunately, I have another Zoom that I have to get onto, but Jeremy, what a beautiful crowd. Thank you so much for just like inviting me into this new experience with all these wonderful people.
Absolutely. Thank you. Such an honor to receive you and to have you here sharing your beautiful medicine and your vibrant energy. And so glad that we had a couple people share, and all of this seems like everybody was just lit up about it and feeling all kinds of things and feeling inspired, especially. So yeah, this was amazing. And I will have the recording available soon. So you could pass it on to your team, and we'll pass it on to our people. And with that being said, thank you everybody for being here. Remember, your story is your medicine, and it is someone else's answer to their prayer as well.
Right. And if I can say, just one little network marketing tip from Ray Higdon, which is that it doesn't matter what you post on social media, but if it's got love and depth in it, it's going to actually just attract people to want to interact with you. And that's all you need, because those become people in your funnel. Those people are all conversations that are starting based in authenticity, that are going to possibly lead to a conversation about how you can help them with Purium. So there you have it.
Beautiful. Awesome. Cool. Well, I'm going to stop the recording here. Does anybody want to say anything? Brooke, you trying to say something?
Well, I just wanted to say thank you. And yeah, this was a full power call to start off our Hueman Optimizers, like reigniting the momentum. And I'm just so freaking grateful. And yeah, like sometimes I don't feel like my story is super powerful, but like everyone has something people can relate to. So thank you for reminding me and sharing. And yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right.
Thank
well,
you guys.
All right, everyone.
All right.